Hey guys, it's Mrs. Ennis again. This is the part 2 or the second video of the note-taking series. So now what I'm going to show you how to do is I'm going to show you how to do a Cornell Notes template. I'm going to model to you the example or the exemplar that is in your note-taking guide packet that I explained in video number 1. So the first thing is you're obviously going to need to be on Google Classroom and probably you're most likely already there. This is the assignment that you're going to see in Google Classroom. Remember, this is the teacher version, so it looks a little different. And this video will be down here as note-taking series video number 2. We're just making it right now so you don't see it. So this is your assignment. It's a classwork assignment. It's your first Cornell Notes for your research project. We're doing 4 of these before the end of the quarter, which is about spring break. So you have about 5 weeks to do this. Now, I did something nice and easy for you guys. I coded every one of these with the topic. And I made a new topic for us, end of year research project. So if you click on that in your topics, you're only going to see one assignment right now. But eventually all 4 of these will be in here. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing you need to know is in here is your note-taking guide. I put it as a Google Docs for you, so it's the online version of the paper that you just got. So here's my example, here's all my notes, here's your rubric, everything I explained in video number 1. So that's here. You also have the note-taking series number 1 video. You want to make sure that you hit open so you can see it on large screen and you get the full audio. So you should have watched this video already. I'm going to close that. I'm going to go back. And then here's the assignment that you're going to do. Cornell Notes number 1. So I'm going to walk you through and model to you how I did this and how I got all this information and why it looks the way that it does. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to write your name up here actually. And you can even write Cornell Notes number 1, because if we print these out, you need to know that it's yours. It doesn't print out with this lovely heading, and yours probably has a dash in your name. So it doesn't print out with that heading, and you also need to know it's your first Cornell Notes, because you need to keep track. You do have to do at least 4. So like I explained to you before, this is the bibliography section of your Cornell Notes. So we're going to pretend right now that I am researching a topic. I'm researching global warming, okay? And I already found my article. So my article is on Newsela, and it's issue overview confronting coal. Okay, from my background research that I already did, from step 2, defining a research question, which we all did already. You guys had to create a little web. Some of you I gave the web templates to. I know that coal is one of the fossil fuels or bad things that we use to get energy. So I know that this is kind of where I need to start, and I found my article on Newsela. Now, this is the teacher version of Newsela, so it's also going to look a little different than yours, but it's the same premise, and the information should be found in the same spot. Okay, so I have my article. If you don't have an article, you need to go into your Google Classroom, and remember down here, all the way down here, for some of you, I put a classwork sources for quarter 3 research project, and this is a Google Doc where you listed a bunch of different links and stuff that you think you were interested in. You can start by picking one of those, or you can go to Newsela or any of the other news sources. If you click the About tab, I do have a list here of all different ideas. It says suggested websites for your research project. And these are going to be kid-friendly websites that you can use. Okay, so you have to click the About tab, suggested websites for your research project, and you can click on any of these. Okay, we're going to go back over to our stream though, and we're going to go back into this template. Okay, so let me move my assignment over. So here's my article. So I'm going to start filling this out. The title of the website is Newsela. It's not the title of the article, the title of the website. So I'm just going to type in Newsela here. Now my URL or my link, if you remember from Miss Vandy, it's this lovely thing up here. We call it a URL or a web address. I'm just going to right click and hit copy, or you can hit Control C on your Chromebook. And then I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste, or you can hit Control V. Now, the title of the article. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit and I'm going to write this whole thing. So issue overview confronting coal, just like it's written. So issue overview confronting coal. And I'm going to unbold it so I know that that's my answer. Now, the author of the website. Now, this is the tricky thing about Newsela. So if you look here, I'm on a 970, which is a 6th grade level, which is great because that's around my Lexile level. Let's pretend I'm a 6th grade student. But it just says Bloomberg adapted by Newsela staff. Now on Newsela, if you click the max, it's going to give you, if it takes a second, it's going to give you the actual author. So I'm going to put Mario Parker, Bloomberg, and then I'm going to put adapted. So Mario, sorry, I combined the two. Bloomberg, that is actually the, Bloomberg is the source. It's actually the paper or website where it came from. And then I'm just going to put adapted by Newsela staff on my paper. Okay, data publication. If you remember, Miss Vandy said this sometimes you can find, sometimes you can't. Basically, if you can find the date of your article, like if it said the date up here somewhere, then you should put it down. But for here, there's no date. There's no date on the bottom of the website. There's the copyright, which is 2017, but there's no date. So I'm just going to write N-A. That's non-applicable, or it's just not there. So you want to fill that in if it's not there. And date access. This is the first day that you use it. So that's today. So I'm going to put 3/6/2017 because that's my first access date that I am using it. And remember, the information may change from day to day. Now the publisher is still going to be Newsela. If I go to the bottom, it's Newsela. There is no other sponsoring company or anything like that. So the publisher is Newsela. Okay, and that took all of like about a minute. And now all my bibliography is filled in, except for my topic, but all my bibliography is filled in, and I'm ready to go. So for my topic, I'm going to write coal, and I'm going to write it in big letters so I understand. Maybe I'll put introduction to coal instead, because remember, I'm going to be probably researching in this global warming topic a bunch of different topics or a bunch of different sources. I may do wind power or solar power, so I want to make sure that I know this is about coal. Sorry, I'm sick, remember that. Alright, so my bibliography is done. So now I need to go into my notes. So if I go back to that note-taking guide, I need to make sure I'm doing abbreviations, I'm doing bullets, I'm using my caveman language listing, it's in my own words, but more importantly down here, I need to organize it somehow. So I need to put it in some sort of subheadings. I'm going to go back over, and first I'm going to make a key. So I know that you guys did this when we annotated in our documents, and you did a whole color coding key. I'm going to do it for abbreviations. So I know capital C is going to equal coal. Because this whole article is going to be talking about coal, I don't want to write coal over and over and over again. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my first heading. So I notice that there are already, let's go back and click on my Lexile level. I don't want to get confused. There are already subheadings in my text, which is awesome because it makes it easier for me. If there aren't subheadings in your topic, you kind of want to skim it first and then kind of group things together and then label it. Okay, you don't always have to put the subheading first. You can start taking notes and realize they're all about the same thing. Then go back and put the subheading. So that's what I'm going to kind of do in the beginning to show you. And I'm not going to do this entire article. I'm just going to show you the beginning of it. So I'm going to start reading. We can't live with it, and we can't live without it. Coal is a major contributor to global warming and the heating up of the earth. Okay, awesome. I'm going to come over here. And now I'm going to start my bullets. So if you remember, you can come up to this bulleted list right here. So I just learned that coal causes global warming. And that's all I'm going to write. I abbreviated, I paraphrased, I didn't write the whole 2 sentences right here. I'm going to keep going. It's also cheap and plentiful. The power and warmth it generates have helped to lift millions out of poverty in India, China, and other nations. Okay, so there's two really good things right here. So I'm going to write coal equals it's cheap and abundant. I'm using my own word. It's a word that I use a lot, but it means lots. Lots of it. There's lots of coal in the world. I also learned that it's used to make power. And it's used in China, India, and other poor countries. Okay, now I'm wondering, why is it easy? Why do people use it? Okay, coal is easier to find than other energy sources and simpler to transport and store. Okay, there's two ideas right there. So it's easier to find and it's simpler to transport. That means to move or to ship it. So I'm going to write over here, coal equals easy to find and move. Bam. Go back. There's more to it than just money. In Eastern Europe, there's much coal. Ooh, so now I have the location of where it's found. People see it as an alternative to Russian oil and gas. Okay, now I realize I'm getting into a big part right here. I can make an inference and I can make a connection. So I'm going to go back up here first. I'm going to put Eastern Europe has lots of coal. And I forgot I can abbreviate. Has lots of it, right? But now I'm going to make an inference over here. I have a major inference I want to write. And basically, let's go back and I'll review it with you. There's much more to it than just money. In Eastern Europe, there's much coal. People see it as an alternative to Russian oil and gas. Okay, so I know through CNN Student News and through all my background research that Russia is a big world player in the stage right now. They're kind of taking over some other areas and some other countries. We talked a little bit about the Ukraine and how they're involved in Syria now. And I could see how those countries, you know what, they may not want to be involved with Russia. So I'm going to write my inference down. I'm going to put in Eastern Europe, if they use their own coal, then they don't need to use Russia's coal. Russia's or Middle Eastern oil. So oil and coal, I'm finding out, are both energy sources or used to make energy. Okay, this allows them to be independent and not have to rely on the, remember I'm making my abbreviations, or Russia, or I should say and, follow their rules. So obviously I have some spelling mistakes. I can just come back up here and right click on them. If I'm on the Chromebook, I can hold down, I want to use that, and this needs to be them. I can hold down the Alt button and click and it'll help me. So here's my inference. I also want to make my inference stand out a little bit, that idea of organization, so I'm just going to bold it so it stands out. Now over here in your thoughts and your questions and stuff like that, you can have complete sentences on this side. Okay? You just can't have them over here. So over here, you can have complete sentences in your thoughts, right? In your thoughts area, just not over here. So this is my thinking. They gave me one sentence. People see it as an alternative to Russian oil and gas. And I kind of made a connection and inference and everything all in one. Now I'm going to keep reading. So I'm going to go back over here to my notes. Efforts to limit coal use have spread. According to oil company BP, the world used 1.8% less coal in 2015. So I'm going to add that over here. Now, our time is going to run out, so this is your second video, and I'm about to make a third video. So after this video in a second, please go to your third one to resume our lesson.